If you make a living as an independent artist, musician, filmmaker, or in some other creative aspect, it's not always easy to know what business moves are right for you. Much of your effort probably going towards excelling at your craft. But experts are agreeing that you have to remember to pay attention to running the actual business itself. So what's important in doing just that? Well, here with the answer, Andre Taylor, entrepreneur and author of the book, You Can Still Win. Andre, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Great to see you, Dan. It's my pleasure.
So listen, a lot of creative people out there, they're not fully prepared for what it takes to build a business. What's most important that they need to keep in mind?
I think the most important thing is it's not about finding a gig or getting involved in a creative project. It's really about building a body of work. And also building a body of work that has a certain methodology, an approach, a technique, a style, a point of view. Like any other business, power really comes from building a money-making brand.
Now, money sometimes seems to be a little elusive for the artist. You know, the term starving artist, unfortunately, is all too common for a lot of folks. What's the answer there?
Well, many artists are afraid of the issue of money, but frankly, money doesn't have to be hard to find, it doesn't have to be hard to get, it doesn't have to be elusive. It really is about understanding that if you're really good at your craft, and if you connect with an audience, building a business is actually the ultimate expression of great creativity. Doing it in isolation without being in a position to connect with an audience is really not what it's about. It's about sharing it and making sure people understand that this is something really unique.
Now, you touched on that a little bit. You said that being distinctive is crucial. Isn't that kind of the same as just being creative?
It is. In some ways, it is very much the same, but I think it's also the key to being successful long term. Creative people are quite interesting in the sense that sometimes they overestimate and sometimes they underestimate just how distinctive what they're doing is. In order to be really successful in a creative field, you have to have a distinctive point of view. You also have to have a narrative that people look at and say, I think I understand where this person is coming from. I understand why they're unique. Which
can be kind of difficult when you're trying to have an objective opinion of your own work and just how successful it's going to be and how well it's going to do in the market. Now, creative projects, we often hear about the importance of developing a hook. What does that mean?
Well, a hook is about something that is memorable, something that stands out, something that is easy for the audience to connect with. The thing to remember as a creative person is it's about building and serving an audience. If you have an audience, you're going to attract dollars, and you're going to attract partners, you're going to attract everything else. So it's about having something that's memorable that an audience will say, I really like this person because I understand where they're coming from.
You've got 3 F's, fans, friends, finances, all as keys to building blocks. I'm going to be careful on what I say there. What do you mean by that?
Well, first of all, one of the things we want to do as a creative person is we want to build our fan base. If we have fans, we're in a position where we can actually attract partners. Many creative people are out there looking for a company to underwrite them, looking for someone to sign them, looking for someone to finance the marketing of them. These days, that only happens if you've built an audience, and an audience that is actually paying. So you want to think about fans, you want to think about friends, and these are partners and people that you can do business with, and you want to think about how that translates into tickets sold or paintings bought or traffic on a website. It's got to be quantifiable.
Traffic on the website, you touch on that. Social media, it's huge. It continues to be a pretty big player in a lot of businesses, not just creative, but regular hardline businesses as well. So how does a creative entrepreneur take advantage of social media?
It's interesting, Dan. Social media it continues to be one of the most fascinating areas in media entirely. What's happened with this digital wave is artists have much more command and also have much more responsibility. It's not about just building a lot of friends and a lot of hits. It's about translating that into a business. So the key thing about social media is to understand that you have to apply the business principles around it. You have to sell, you have to market, you have to pitch your services, you have to offer things periodically, you have to come up with new distinctive offerings. It's about building a business around social media, which makes it a lot easier to do these days.
Be creative and build that business. Andre Taylor, author of You Can Still Win. Andre, thanks so much for joining us today and all your advice. Very insightful. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Dan.